Take back 2 hours of your life, everything you need to know about windows in 10 minutes. My name is Brad Black, and I've been in the window industry for 20 years now. I've worked with thousands of homeowners to help them replace their windows. And so what we're gonna do real quick is just go over the basics, but really the things you need to know to choose the right window for your home here in Texas. I'm gonna utilize the Anlin window as the example. This doesn't fit everybody's needs for a window. There's two main things you talk about in a window. One is the frame of the window and then the glass. So first of all, you want to choose the type of window frame that you want to have. There's a couple basic types. You have a wood window frame and they have wood clad, which just means they cover the outside of the window with either vinyl or aluminum to protect the wood from the elements. Those are that type of person. You want to have that window because you want to stain the inside and have a wood finish. They're gonna be the most expensive windows. And that does fit some people's needs, but for most people here in Texas, most people or builders have put in either aluminum or vinyl windows. You're gonna wanna replace your window probably with something else. And the other options would be either fiberglass frame window, vinyl, or like a composite. And so the window frames that you also wanna consider are sizing, what kind of sizes, and the shapes of your windows. A lot of homes here in Texas have large windows and they have curved tops and things like that. So that's gonna limit your choices of window frames. The reason why we do like Anlin as our high performance window option here is because here in Texas, they can make the most window sizes and shapes. And then the frame that you also wanna consider is how big the frame is. And if you're replacing an aluminum window, you wanna look at how thick the frame is. And so Anlin, you can see here, has a very narrow frame. When you replace it with aluminum window, it's gonna be similar to that aluminum frame. It's gonna have a lot of glass, a wide view. You're not gonna get a big, huge, a lot of people replace their windows with a white window and they end up with this really large frame that just ends up being an eyesore and they lose a lot of glass. And so with Anlin, they have the panoramic option, which is what most homeowners choose here. And it just looks really, really good on the inside and the outside. The other thing about windows is the structure. So the reason why fiberglass can be a good option is it's very structural versus vinyl can have issues with structure, being that the temperature and here in Texas can cause it to start weaken the frame or soften. A good window will have a reinforcement. So in either fiberglass or a steel reinforcement, this is an example of the steel reinforcement in the Anlin window. Again, this shows how narrow the frame is. So on the inside, you have your nice lock that's screwed into that reinforcement. So you're not relying on any type of vinyl for structure. You have that like a skeleton in the window, as you can see there. And the other thing is on vinyl is the type of vinyl. So not every vinyl window is the same. You have your builder's grade vinyl. You have vinyl that they use to make toys or your vinyl lawn chair. That's what most people think about when they think of vinyl, but then they have plastics and vinyl that they use in the space shuttle. A good window like Anlin will use titanium dioxide and UV inhibitors and other things. So it's really more like a composite because they're adding other elements into the vinyl, and then those have been tested. So over time out in the desert and things like that. And then the warranty, a good warranty will guarantee that the structure, the fading, the cracking, and that's what Anlin does. So it has a double lifetime warranty on that frame. And then the other thing you want to look at when you're looking at windows is the color. Some window manufacturers make certain colors that others don't. Anlin, you have your base colors of tan, white, or adobe like this. This is a very common one because it looks really good with most of the brick homes here in Texas. A lot of people though are also going to black, and you can do black on the exterior or white on the interior, or actually now they have what's called designer black, which is black on black. So that's the basics of a window frame. Now let's go to the glass. And the glass, you can get really into the details and things like that. I just want to go over the basics because most glass in new windows is coming from a lot of the same places. The difference is going to be in the spacer and the coatings on the glass. And Anlin uses a system from Cardinal that only a few window manufacturers use or have access to. It's actually the only vinyl window that has the stainless steel spacer on the inside, which is actually black too, which looks better. And then they have a dual sealing system on here. And this particular system is made by Cardinal, so it's not made by Anlin. This is the same system that you would see in like a Renewal by Andersen or a high-end wood-clad window would use this glass system in it. And that's one reason why Anlin though too can, that double lifetime warranty against seal failures, anything like that. So that's a very important feature of the window, because the biggest thing we see in windows, even new, I was just at a home the other day, house built 5 years ago. Whole backside of the window of the house had seal failures where you're seeing that fogging or the discoloration that's happening in between the glass. And that's just because it just has a really poor seal in there, because vinyl has a very high expansion contraction rate. You get these builders like big windows, bigger the window, the more expansion contraction, and that puts a lot of strain on the seals. And so a window like Anlin is just gonna handle that much better. And so the other thing on the windows you wanna look at is the rating in terms of solar heat gain coefficient and the U value. What those are is just a rating that says how much solar gain from the sun comes through the window, how much energy comes through the window. And then the U value is how insulating the window is, just like insulation or like an R value. So you can, I can show you this here in a second. And so let's just demo that on the window. So what we have here is a heat lamp. And then this is a BTU meter. It's just measuring a unit of measure for how much energy is being transmitted across this gap here. So right now it's at 274. And so let's go ahead and just put what most people have in an older window is just 2 panes. It's still double pane. Now, some people still have a single pane window. And when you're talking about R value is just a measure of how resistant it is to energy transfer. So a wall, for example, will have an R value of like a 19 typically today. If you have an older home, you might have an R13 or 15. But a single pane of glass, R value, when you're talking about that, is a 0.89, so not very much. When you get 2 panes with an airspace, it's about a 2. So if I put this in front of this heat lamp, so you can see there, we're at 270-ish. And then when I throw that in front of there, it dropped it down to 187. So not a huge drop. So there's still a lot of energy. The heat, you can still feel it coming right through there. So that's what most people, or a lot of people, have now today if they have an older window. Now, if you have a somewhat newer window, say in the last 10, 12 years, you probably have a vinyl window, or you might even have an aluminum that has a double pane window. And then they have what's called a low-E coating, which is just a metallic coating that goes on the glass. Helps reflect that solar energy off the window, filter out a little bit of the UV on there. And so this is gonna take it from, let's say 270, and now we're down to 141. So a little bit lower than the regular double pane, but still that heat is coming through. And the longer the heat comes here, that will start actually increasing, start going up. So the other option you could do on a window, you just do what you do in your walls. Just put insulation in your glass, right? I think that would work well. Most people just keep their blinds closed all the time anyway. In the summer, it's so hot, close the blinds. In the winter, it's so cold, close the blinds. Why do you even have a window there? You might as well just put insulation in it and do that. Let's see how that works. So that works pretty well. Drops it down to 44. So maybe we should just do that. I think we could do that for about $100 a window. So if you want to do that, just give us a call. We'll come out, we'll give you a quote. No, just joking. So Anlin has a couple options for glass. This is gonna, so the Sun Matrix, and so this has multiple coats of the low E coating, and the types of metal they use are a higher grade or a different type of coating in the way it's put on. We don't need to get into all the details in that. The main thing you need to know as a homeowner is it's blocking 98% of the UV, so you can leave your windows open, not worry about a nice piano or your floors or your new couch getting faded. You can enjoy the light in your house, because that's what a window is for. It's to let the light in the home. They've done a lot of studies on the importance of natural light and having that and being around it. So when we put that there, drops it down to about a 6, 5.5, 6. So you can see there, and I can let it just sit there and heat up. I've actually heated up one side of the pane to almost 300 degrees, and the other side will still be about 75. And so you can let your windows open, enjoy the light, and really have that comfort level of the house. So windows is one of the things that homeowners notice the most of any home improvement they do, because it affects so many things about their house. Just the feel of your house and the comfort. And then obviously when you get your energy bill. Just had a customer the other day come to our office, And he pulled out his energy bill over the summer from last summer, 2023, summer 2024, and the bar graphs literally dropped. We calculated out he was saving about 60, 70 bucks a month during the summer just because of his new windows. And he actually had a vinyl window in about a 10-year-old house. So you would even save more if you have an older aluminum window. Other thing that we do as a company in our high performance window, it's a complimentary upgrade we do on every window, and that's the sound package. And what the sound package does is it puts a thicker pane of glass on one side, do two different thicknesses, is it breaks up the sound waves. There's some physics that goes on there, but it is going to reduce the sound transmission significantly. And when you look at that there, you can see how much more just thick one side is, but also from, it's a triple strength glass versus double strength. So when we get those big hailstorms, much less likely to have hail or debris, wind-driven debris break through your window, which, you get glass in your carpet or you get water flooding in your house because you have a broken window. You don't want that. So just less likely to have that, a lot more durable. But the first thing people notice when they get a high performance window installed in their house typically is the noise. So even if you live in a quiet neighborhood, you got lawnmowers, you got dogs, you got cars driving by, people just notice it. Their house is just quieter, it gives them more peace. And so when you add that comfort, more peace, you just like your house better. The other thing to consider about window frames is the operation and how it operates and works. A good window is gonna have multiple locks too. So this has one lock, but any window wider than this will actually have two of these locks. And I mentioned earlier, the locks are screwed into the steel reinforcement. You have the nice narrow profile here, so you don't have the big, thick, ugly frame in front of you, nice rounded corners, things like that. The back actually also on the outside has a nice beveled edge, and you're really just seeing just a nice outline on your home instead of having a big bulky frame. A lot of times these are about double the size here in the middle, and then also this comes in about another ½ an inch on both sides, so you're losing a lot of glass. And so the operation of the window is very important because windows actually contribute a lot to the safety of a home in a couple ways. One is security, like we mentioned, but also the other thing is safety from in a case of a fire. And so if you have children and they're in their bedroom, they really need to be able to open the window on their own. A lot of people have aluminum windows or an old window that is very difficult to open, and you want it to be able to easily open. One, just to flip the locks easily, and this is something you should practice with your children at home to be able to open that window in case of a fire. And so the other thing about aluminum frame windows, they're like a pop can in your house. What that means is they condensate or they get moisture in the winter, especially people that you leave your blinds closed. Like during Snowmageddon in 2021, we had people calling us saying, hey, there's ice on the inside of my window. And that's because of that condensation. Your window basically is sweating, and then moisture attracts mold. And a lot of people they don't realize it. They think it's just dirt down in the track of their aluminum window, but it's actually mold that's forming. So you want to be very conscious of that, because that can be a safety concern as well for the air quality in your home. A lot of times when people get new windows, they realize they start opening the window more just for ventilation too, because you'll have a nice new screen on there. But then also for easy cleaning, these just tilt in for easy cleaning. And you can take your rag, just clean it, and then just pop it right back in. Like that. And then lock it back up. You want to make sure your windows are just, again, going to open easily, security, safety. And then with that glass, it's going to provide you that comfort from the sound, from the temperature, and you can enjoy your view out your windows again. A lot of people are getting rid of the grids in the house. That opens up your view and stuff a lot as well, and updates the looks of your house from both the inside and the outside. The other thing about glass that a high performance window will have is a couple things. They'll have this little, this is called aniline armor, which is like a plastic covering. And so if we pull that off nice and clean, so during shipping, install of the window, it's gonna protect the window from scratches, things like that. The other thing is what's called easy clean glass. It's a special coating that goes on the outside. So when you get hard water or from a sprinkler or bird poop or things like that, it's actually just gonna wash off very easily and keeps your window staying clean a lot longer. And then you have to wash your windows less often. When you're looking at a window, you don't need to have a salesperson come to your house, give you a 2-hour presentation. I just went over frames and glass just real quick, but just to know what to look for in a vinyl window. There are less expensive options with vinyl. You know, you can get a double pane low E window, but if you're gonna stay in the house and you want those benefits that we talked about with a double lifetime warranty, more comfort, the sound package, the Anlin panoramic window is the best value we have. We have a value match guarantee as well. And so reach out to us and we can just give you a quick estimate. And if you've already watched this video, you don't have to have us do any of this because you've already seen it. So yeah, reach out to us and we will see you with your new windows.